Hello there, and welcome to my first individual project for Computer Science 302, Apple, Technology Leader or Rotten Fruit, based on the article In China, Human Costs Are Built into an iPad. There are two types of people in this world, those who love Apple products and those who do not. Regardless of which side you are in this spectrum, it is important to understand where devices come from if we want to confidently claim to be an ethical society. Our enormous appetite for new technology has given birth to a very lucrative industry, an industry which takes full advantage of globalization. The distance put between people and the manufacturers of their devices has created a sort of apathy. As long as the demand for newer and better devices are met and delivered at a reasonable price, then society is less likely to be bothered about how it's getting done, especially if it's getting done on the other side of the world. It seems almost counterintuitive to view the company Apple as one that engages in unsavory business practices. All their products have an ultra-clean, minimalist design, but as it is with many things in life, things are not always as they appear. I will be using some ethical frameworks and ideas to explore this topic brought up in the article, titled, In China, Human Costs Are Built into an iPad. Essentially, the questions being asked is whether Apple should be held responsible in at least some way to the practices of its suppliers. As is commonly understood, globalization has made China a mecca for manufacturing. With its virtually limitless workforce, cheap materials, and very relaxed regulations. Many technologies have taken advantage of this, but none have been as successful as Apple. As it is in typical American fashion, the votes for Best in Show came in the form of sales. At the time the article was published, Apple had just posted a whopping $13 billion profit. With that kind of impact, would it not be wise to suspend our admiration for just a moment and look into some of the disturbing reports coming from China? Workers are being way overworked, supplier factories are exploding, and even perhaps investigate the rash of suicide among workers, which has gotten so bad that safety nets are being installed in and around accommodation buildings. Now, to be fair, Apple has tried to get ahead of these issues by issuing a code of conduct to their suppliers. Suppliers also need to meet a certain set of standards before they can be approved for contracts. And Apple themselves have also instituted a variety of auditing programs. However, all of these endeavors have returned to mixed, if not rather ambiguous results. Looking at this from a social contract viewpoint, one would be able to say that if both parties involved know what they're agreeing to, and are receiving something in exchange that benefits them, then there is little to debate. Coal miners, for instance, understand that their job is dangerous, but calculate this risk and decide whether or not to become a miner. Or at the very least, decide where they're going to be employed. Maybe a particular company has a better safety record. Of course, we can advocate for laws and regulations to be put in place to help manage these risks, but in reality, there's no 100% way to ensure absolute safety. The iPad factory worker is earning a living. The suppliers are earning Apple's business. Apple is delivering popular, high-quality products all around the world. They're also employing their own employees, and of course they're paying taxes, which in an abstracted kind of way, we're all benefiting from. Now, if we were to look at it through a utilitarian worldview, it comes across as a little bit more compassionate, as it takes into account the net happiness produced by a particular action. In this case, the creation of the Apple products. While it creates jobs and some tax revenue, we must also look at the overall outcome to realize the utility of these actions. In this case, there are many more people putting their lives at risk working in subpar conditions to bring relatively fewer people the happiness of owning such products. Ultimately, a utilitarian would reject the business practices of Apple and demand that Apple vet their suppliers with more vigor. Having applied two worldviews to this case, it should remain clear that there's no easy answer to this problem, even if thinking about this situation might make you feel uncomfortable, especially to Apple aficionados. It is central to validating our ethical claims and moral beliefs. until society is more generally and fairly informed about what is happening, there won't be enough popular demand for Apple to make changes, for Apple to strike a better balance between being a profitable company and a socially responsible one, so that ultimately its customers can in good conscience purchase their products and support their brand. Thank you for listening.